What have you guys heard from your clientele, and what have you experienced yourself about the animal's response to smelling ozone mixed in with a scent profile of a human?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and really one of the most important questions because in my mind, there's three different scenarios most of the time, maybe four. One, there's the scenario where you have the setup, it's perfect, your conditions are perfect, and you've created a world where that animal's downwind and has no clue, right? That you have effectively created a world where there's enough ozone mixing with the human odor being released by you in a downwind airstream that it's being destroyed completely and nothing is reaching the animal. And they act normal, completely normal. And, and I mean normal in the sense like normal, like they're not downwind, right?
Right.
Okay. Then if you understand ozone, again, it's interacting with your human odor, and odor's a human odor is a biological molecule, right? It's bacteria. And as ozone interacts with it, it begins to unravel. So there's a certain code that says, hey, this is human. And that's what a deer smells, reacts to. But
Mhm.
the second ozone, even one molecule reacts with it as it unravels, it's no longer human. It changes what it is. And that's where you're going to see a downwind animal, especially whitetail. Whitetail are very curious animals anyway, but you'll see them, they'll hit the downwind airstream and their head will pop up and they'll start checking the air, checking the air. They'll start sometimes even walking towards you because they're curious. They're like,
Mhm.
what is that? I don't recognize that odor. I don't smell it," but they don't get alarmed.
Yeah.
That's a second kind of reaction. And that's typically because look, they're smelling something. And some people go, "Oh, they're smelling the ozone." And I don't believe that. I believe again that what you've done is you've taken your odor and changed its molecular structure as it begins to degrade, and they're getting some of that.
Mhm.
Then you'll see the reaction where some of your odor has slipped through your ozone river, for lack of a better way to put it, downstream, and they get a little bit of the human. So you'll see where the head comes up quick, maybe even the tail comes up, maybe they spin 180 degrees, like looking back to where they were going to go, and then they stop because the amount of human odor they got has been reduced to the point that they think you're much further away than you really are, right? All
Mhm.
animals have a safe distance. And they're like, "Okay, I just smelled human, but they must be a long way away. I don't know where they are," because they don't have a visual most of the time. They just got a little bit of you. And then there's the final one where enough of you slips through that they turn inside out. They come unglued, which
Mm.
happens on occasion.
Yep.
The analogy I like to give people is if you've ever been standing in a stream and the stream's flowing and there's rocks, there's logs, there's contours underneath the water that create eddies and swirls. The air's doing the same thing as it passes over the terrain and around trees and over bluffs and dealing with thermals, right? So if you take green dye and that's your odor and you dump it into that stream, it doesn't just turn the whole stream green, right? You see it go down the path as it hits certain places, it splits left, right, and it does its thing. Now, if I take purple dye and that's ozone and I begin to dump it into the same stream with that green odor, you'll see places where the purple completely overtakes the green and it's gone. You'll
Mhm.
see places where they mix and change color. That's what I was talking about, where
Mhm.
the odor has been changed. And then you'll see places where they never touch. And
Yeah.
some of the green gets through. And then sometimes in some cases, maybe you forgot to turn your unit and the wind shifted on you, a big bunch of that green dye gets through and it gets down there to the animal and they go, "Oh, that's a human and it's too close and I'm going."
Yeah.
That would be the 4 reactions that I've experienced.